Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting edition of Industrial Valco University, where you can get your PVF degree for absolutely free. All right, today we're going to continue in our classes on not what it does, but how it's made. And today we're going to talk about these little guys. You know, they're kind of flirty and fun for PVF. It's the bleed ring. The bleed ring is you could in different ways, actually, believe it or not. Like skinning a cat, there's many different ways to do. I'm sorry. Am I the only one getting the feedback in my earpiece? Let me see the monitor. What's going on? Oh man. I was promised. Well, let me let the audience know. With the cutbacks that happened during the pandemic, we decided to not use interns anymore, but to get some monkeys, excuse me, chimpanzees, don't want to offend our primate friends, to help out. But right now, this is not going to work. Can we get someone to fix this? Thank you. We all good now? Great. Hey, new rule. Monkeys, chimpanzees are not allowed to work on anything that's this production. They're only allowed to get coffee, my makeup, and of course, marketing. Great. All right. Today's episode is brought to you by ivalco.com, where you can get access to over 25,000 line items of PVF. All right. And also, ivalco.com, a very, very strict no monkey intern policy. So you'll enjoy that. All right, let's talk about bleed rings. Bleed rings provide easy access to drain piping, taking samples, or attaching instruments to pipelines. Bleed rings are a ring section with one or more radial pipe connections designed to fit between standard flanges with a bolt circle. Standard bleed rings are manufactured with at least 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch tapping to allow easy connection of valves and instruments. This company specializes in making steel pipe flange items, including bleed rings with water pressure cutting techniques. A piece of sheet metal is used to start the process. These pieces are typically 4 feet by 8 feet wide and can weigh up to 1 ton. So workers use a forklift, crane, with a magnet and crowbar to get into place. This plate of metal is 1.5 inches thick. After the dimensions have been double checked, the CAD worker sends the information to the Waterjet control center, and after following safety setup precautions, starts the process with a push of a button. The immediate blast hits the steel with over 90,000 psi of pressure. Until the steam works its way through the steel, it will have a huge plume of what at first glance looks like smoke. But this is just the mist from the intense pressure of the water bouncing off the steel at such a high velocity, like the mist from a huge waterfall, like Niagara Falls. After the cut makes its way through the steel, it can start the process of making the circular cut. At this point, the mist dies down greatly as the process begins. The jet is spraying a mix of water and sand to help make the cut. Because of the thickness of the metal sheet, the actual time for it to go all around the inside diameter of this 6-inch bleed ring takes almost 30 minutes. As we time lapse it, we can see the trail and precision of the machine. After the inside diameter has been completed, the machinist hits the preset buttons and starts the process all over again, starting the outside diameter of the bleed ring. The dimensions between the inside and outside of the 6-inch bleed ring is 8 5/8 inches, with the inside diameter set perfectly to fit on a 6-inch pipe. As you can see, the cuts are made as close to the edges and the other rings to ensure that they get the maximum number of products from each sheet of metal. Because there is a small amount of sand to help the cut, it does leave a little bit of a residue. Because of this, the machinist frequently uses a power washer to clean the metal. When the bleed rings have been cut out, the machinist uses a large magnet with a handle to get them to easily be removed from the plate. After they are free from the metal plate, they are quickly bathed in water to get sand and other residue off them before they go to the next process. In order to make room for the next step and open up the machine for other work, the cut rings are brought to another station. With the rings cut, it's now time for the hole to be drilled. As the new machinist prepares the drill, he first checks the procedure and prepares the drill with the bit that will match the spec. Then the ring itself is measured out and marked for where exactly the drilling needs to take place. The point is measured out and center punched, so it will be in the required location. The ring is now clamped in tightly to make sure that there is no movement in the ring. After setup is complete, the drilling starts. The half-inch bit immediately starts to work its way through the steel. To ensure that the metal ring or the drill bit don't overheat, cutting oil is leaked onto the spot of the drilling, keeping the temperatures cool and not deforming or altering the drilling process. Since the hole needs to have a female thread, the machinist prepares a device that will thread the hole that was just drilled out. This is called tapping the hole. After the measurements and the ring is clamped and secure, the tapping begins. Although some tapping is done by machines, he prefers to use a handheld tap so he can slowly take his time and get a nice perfect thread. Like the drilling process, the machinist uses a gutting oil that helps the delicate nature of the tapping and ensures the tap doesn't get stuck. The handheld tap tool can be moved back and forth, but the ultimate spin will be clockwise to make the thread. When complete, the handheld tap tool is spun out counterclockwise and cleaned with a brush for an additional tapping to make sure no metal pieces are left inside the thread. After the tapping is complete, the machinist makes sure it was done to standard. This half-inch API-approved NPT gauge makes it easy to verify the pitch diameter of the pipe thread and makes positive that it matches consistent with the industry standard. The bleed ring is now taken outside to be spray painted black. This helps with rust and making a clean looking finished product. While the bleed ring dries, the machinist is able to start the process of stamping the item. The stamp gives details from when the item was made, the type of material that was used, and the country of origin. After a swift hit with a hammer, the bleed ring has a tracking number used for MTRs, or test material requirements. The finished product is then taken to a master distributor like Industrial Valco, where they are put in stock while waiting to be pulled for the need from a local supplier. So that's how you make a bleed ring. Hey, during the break, I got a lot of emails asking me, hey, Professor Jim, how tall are you? And because I guess the camera angles and the way we shoot it, people think that I'm really tall. But actually, as you can see from this back view, I'm actually about 4 foot 6 inches tall. But because of this step ladder, I'm able to present the items and make you maybe think that I'm taller. You know, it's like Tom Cruise or Sylvester Stallone, who pretend to be 6 feet tall when they're closer to about 5 foot 2. So that's our class. I hope you learned a little bit about how bleed rings are made and a little behind the scenes at IV University. Have a great day, everybody.